Salad and I saw Star Trek the Original Series Episode 4, The Naked Time. It is directed by Mark Daniels, written by John D.F. Black, and if you haven't seen this episode, I will spoil it for you. This movie starts and we're following Spock and also another guy. They go down to this planet, and they're, having a little bit of a looky-loo, just having a little, look. It looks to me like there's some sort of refrigerator, overfrost. You know what I'm talking about? It looks like the entire surface is covered in, that ice from the fridge. It's just what it looks like to me visually. But we have this guy who is with Spock. He's like, I'm just going to touch everything with my bare hands. And I'm like, why would you do that? You're on a foreign planet. Why would you... I'm just going to take off my glove and just start touching everything and then touch the inside of my mask. I'm like, this is how diseases, this is how they work. This is how they get spread. They go through the transporter. They go on the ship. They get their checkup. Everything is handed down to usual. Also, it's interesting, Spock has his vitals go wonky all over the place, and immediately I'm like, that's really interesting. Spock's vitals can't be read as well as the other crew members' vitals, but he's like, I'm fine, I'm doing great. I'm like, okay, that's cool, that's a cool world-building knowledge fact that I learned. Also, this guy who, I'm just going to touch everything on a foreign surface and just rub my nose. He gets the disease, but he's not really showing any symptoms until a little bit later, when he starts acting weird. On top of this, we have the planet that the USS Enterprise has been assigned to look at, since it's a planet that is shrinking smaller, it's degrading, it's just something to observe, and the USS Enterprise is supposed to observe it. So they're in the orbital field of this planet, even as it gets smaller. So on top of the virus that's spreading across the ship, we have a planet that is getting smaller, and because it's getting smaller, the gravitational pull is pulling the ship closer to the core until, some sort of explosion is supposed to happen with a planet that explodes upon itself. I am no whatever the planet science is called. I'm not one of those, so if you know what that's called, and if you know what the effects would be in space if you're really close to it, like the USS Enterprise is, let me know in the comments below. This guy, just being a little bit hostile. He's being really hostile towards everyone. I'm trying to be hostile. And then the way that it spreads, it seemingly spreads by way of touching the other person, and then if you touch the person who has the virus, then you also get the virus. So as this guy starts being super aggressive and touches people, then other people start getting the symptoms too. Luckily, it's not a ton of people who are contracting this, but one of them is Sulu. Oh boy, I love Sulu. We first see a guy who's acting irrationally in the break room. Sulu's there, so is the other guy who is on the landing bridge. It seems like a navigational officer, and they're just in the break room. They are near this dude, and they touch him, so they get the virus, and then they start acting weird and irrationally. And it's fun because I like the part when Sulu is like, I'm just gonna go to the gym now. It's gymming time here. And I just find it fun because then he has a fencing, and he goes woo-hoo-hoo, 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 and he just starts fencing all over the place. And I found that to be really cool. I laughed when I saw him fencing shirtless in the hallway. First laugh, but also like, man, that guy's been working out. And so we got some more fun shenanigans, such as the nurse. We got a nurse. She has the disease, and also she confesses her love to Spock. And because she touches Spock's hands, and then Spock has the disease, I'm like, okay, how is this going to affect Spock? Spock doesn't have any control over his emotions. And I'm like, wow, this is so cool. This is such a cool insight. Not gonna lie, I really like it. I like this episode a lot because it gives me a in-depth look at how people would act if they were getting some sort of disease that was, let's say, lowering their inhibitions. Foreshadowing. So now Kirk has it because he's in contact with Spock. Spock literally won't stop crying, but there's they're becoming dangerously close to the planet, who is becoming smaller, and they're getting pulled into the gravity of the planet, and this is dangerous, and they need to act on it now. They got this B plot. I keep fleshing out the plot, the A plot, but there's also equally as fleshed out B plot that I could be covering, such as on top of their engine is just not working because some of the people getting the virus are not working anymore, and so it's like, oh, we're kind of lower staffed, and now how are we going to fix the engine was turned off. Well, how are we going to turn it on? Well, we need some amount, like maybe 30 minutes of time, but we only got like 10 minutes until we get pulled into the planet, right? And then, oh, we're gonna have a big old fight. Instead of focusing on the fact that we have a little planet collapsing, we have Spock not able to pull it together to focus on the mission of fixing. Well, I guess it's just a matter of heating up. It's just a matter of heating up the engines. Plus, there has to be a way to heat the engines at a faster rate than faster than the planet will get them, right? Here, that's the ultimate thing going on, and there's this experimental method of heating their engines, making them go fast, making the engines go. It's experimental. I don't know the exact words for it, but it's experimental. It's never been done before. It's only theoretical. And they have to do it, so there's so many risks being involved, and it's kind of I'd say it's like a bottleneck, and it's like so much tension is being put there, right? And even so much tension, so much so that we have Spock and Kirk. Well, Kirk starts slapping Spock to get him out of it, and then Spock slaps Kirk, and then Kirk also gets the virus, and it's like, how will they think? Well, luckily, we figured out what the virus was actually. It was alcohol kind of substance. It would be in your water molecules. It spreads through water. It inhibits. It affects all inhibitions. That's the word. Inhibitions. That's what it is. So, it affects people. And this experimental engine thing, I don't know the exact of it, but doing that made it so they're now being warped back in time 72 hours. And I was like, whoa, that's weird. They just invented time travel. That's cool. But they're not going to focus on time travel for this episode. That's the end of the episode. I'm like, wow, they just invented time travel. And it's like, we could look at that a little bit later, but not now. So I was like, hey, that's cool. There's future potentiality. I'm intrigued with this episode. So much tension built with this episode. A plot, incredibly strong. B plot, incredibly strong. They both converged. Both of those created so much tension where I just had to stare at the screen, and then the tension was relieved, and then once the tension was relieved, that was the end of the episode, and I was like, I love it, this is great, I'm such a big fan. Ooh, yeah, I love it, this is such a great episode. I really like the performances, I like Sulu fencing around, being shirtless, I thought that was cool, and I like seeing everyone's inhibitions being lowered and them being more themselves. I really like that. So I think I gotta give this episode gets like a solid 8 out of 10. If you like this review, watch another one. The platform really likes that. If you want a fast track boo review, you can do that for $20 details at patreon.com/ASEPresents. And if you'd like to help support the daily grindiness of all them daily movie reviews, go to this link tree. Find the way you can help support the daily grind of all them daily movie reviews, so you can go here. And until next time, mint salad sauce, he likes my sour croutons and bacon bits. Beam me up.